What is up, guys? It is CJ here, and tonight we are going to be taking a look at a back test of a model that I remember very well on Hyperliquid. Hype. You know, we've just got back to the studio. We are winding down for the night, and there's been some action on Hype lately, and I wanted to look back at some of the price action it's given us in the past to kind of, prepare ourselves a little bit, and just to backtest what this guy did. So I've set up a PO3 here, and this was the idea on Hype. We were watching for a distribution model here, which then we came up aggressively, leaving demand. And then we were forced to look at this as a manipulation range. So, diving into the video here, there was this model right here, and I traded this model. We're going to get rid of the manipulation. We may put it back when we're looking at it, but let's dive into the price action here. So, I remember this model very fondly because I traded it in the Foundation Challenge. If you guys have seen my Foundation Challenge series here on YouTube, I trade this model as the second trade in the series. So when we come to the lower time frame here, this is a picture perfect wipe-off. Nice test right here. This is really a lot of liquidity, though no real clear LPS. Why? But I was looking at this model, and I think this is something that you gotta trade to have yourself open to the market to catch winners. And I believe we traded it somewhere in here. So let's just say that we had a position right here. Stop was above the high, I believe. Where did we trade it here? I think right here. Yes. Right there. Put in the test. This was before I even paid too much attention to like the wipe-off phases. More specifically, I was very just looking at it through a TCT lens and trying to find my edge. So I entered this trade. It's a valid trade to take, although I do want to show this before we do show it. Well, look at this. Been seeing this a lot on Hype. Sneaky demand right here, and I never had this on the chart in the challenge. It was sneaky. I was blinded by this RTZ, kind of looking at it like this. I was blinded by this RTZ, where we do have this structure demand right here. So if you were in this trade, this is a partial take profit right here. Guys, I believe that this RR was much higher. You can go back and look at my Foundation Challenge. I believe the RR is much higher. I can't remember exactly what we're watching because obviously this is not structure right here, so it must be on the lower time frame. We're not going to get into it. But what we can get into is zooming out here, and kind of just looking at how this model looks. So at the time, how does this model look for a PO3? It looks too small, right? It looks too small. I believe I was running something like this. Also, the RR was extremely high. I think it was like this, something like this. So it just looks too small for the manipulation phase. Would have been, probably something like this. Like to see it like a little bigger, something like this. So it's definitely something to keep in mind when we are looking at PO3s. I'm going to, we'll just put this box up here, knowing that we're looking at the manipulation phase, and we'll get this out of the way, and we'll kind of see what happens. So, presents a nice model, hits demand, and then what do we do? We end up going higher, sweeping that liquidity, stopping me out at break even. So now we can get this off the chart. But what did I do in this moment? I turned my eyes away from this. I go, oh, like this play is not working, right? This play is over. I turned my eyes to something else. But let's see what we actually do. we are still in this phase that we are looking for the manipulation phase to be had. Kind of had something here, honestly. A model like this that does hit target. So there was probably another trade right here. It's not the cleanest, right, but it is here. Because there's multiple trades to be had. Always within the market, if you can see them. So, did we sweep extreme liquidity right here? Looks like we leave equal highs. Pretty untradeable, but the RTZ, you know, is decent. And at the end of the day, the market does give it to people. Anyone who traded this during the London session, I don't know exactly what you're looking at. You're looking at, man, I don't know. It does hit target though. But let's see what else Hype has in store. So now we really get into it. And this is at all-time high, by the way. So this is the model that it gives. Now, in this range. So we kind of had our exhaustion coming in, where that model kind of just became exhaustion. Put some of these on, symbolizing exhaustion, coming into our true manipulation phase range. So now if we look at it, it's a lot bigger in size, and it fits the PO3 range, you know, something like this, where we'd be looking for something like this, where it's better in proportional size to the range part of the PO3. So again, we're going to move this manipulation phase up, but just know that we are looking at it. So what did Hype end up giving? Because I did not take this. I did not really know it was going down. But after the fact, we can study and see what it did, because obviously this was engineered. So it comes up rather aggressively. Why is it aggressive though? Because it's sweeping liquidity here. This is all liquidity. Similar to here, why this was a faster move, because it was sweeping liquidity in that model that we traded right here. I don't like when you switch time frames and these aren't nice. But we had all this liquidity, we swept it aggressively, and then what did we do? Remove the lasso for a second here. But we came up and we left this POI at all-time high. Put that on the chart. This extreme liquidity. So you do get that touch here on New York of this is the New York session on September 18th of 2025. This would have been extreme liquidity right here. Extreme of the extreme. This would be the actual extreme liquidity, probably on most time frames. But it's really ruthless price action here, because you did mitigate this supply. I guess we gotta see if there was something even more refined. I doubt we are going to find that. We don't even sweep that. I truly don't know why we came up here. I mean, you do sweep, you know, that candle's high. Because guys, I did not trade this, and I'm just kind of coming back on Hype to see, you know, what is going on, and to kind of understand this coin a little better. So this is the high that we leave at all-time high on the 3 minute, not the cleanest high to my eyes, but we do leave it. Look at this. Okay. So Hype likes to get into these LTF weird POIs. Obviously, if it's not clear, we're studying this because this is the all-time high of hype, and it delivered an insane move. So this supply is mitigated right here, leaving a liquidity high. So when the high is left like this, it's, you know, it's not very convincing. You pull back. You did leave some structure supply right here that gets disrespected because price wanted to sweep absolutely everything, and you are getting that extreme liquidity. Probably right here on the ones. It's irrelevant to me though. Are you even hitting this? You're even hitting this, which is an inefficiency. We're gonna go on the 1 minutes just to be thorough. But little 1 minute as well. That might have been a little bit too. Did that. Once more down. Something like this. We're really getting into it now, but I just want to see, because this doesn't look like a nice order block to me. But we are studying, right? Bang. Okay. So it takes absolutely everything within this range. Just like that. And then we can kind of look at these highs. So again, faster move up because we're sweeping liquidity doesn't really take away then from the RTZ. So we also like this is our RTZ right here. Wow. Okay. It is interesting, right? It's not your typical, you could say, but it is functional. What do we have? Did we have like any nice demand? I just want to make sure. Obviously, this is not nice demand. No. You're mitigating everything really, and I'm more looking for the structure demand and not as much just this little order block. As you can see, it did absolutely nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing. So let's study these highs here and where you could have entered. I believe the only entry is right here, to be honest, like for this model. To be sure, because you want to be sure. Are you leaving anything? You can see that aggressive sell-off though. Not really leaving any supply. Guys, we're in the trenches. We are leaving supply though. Right here. So we are leaving supply there, and look at that aggressive. If you take like something like this, I would just wait for this when playing a PO3, especially with this weird range. Want to be short, but you are leaving that. Like, look at this sell off, and then you're getting this break right here, right here. Don't want to use even any internal market structure. Would want to see this low get broken. You do not want to see like breaking maybe this one slightly SFPing your main market structure low, and then just going higher, and you'd be like, wow, I entered off, you know, a bad break. But very interesting what they did here, how they like kind of like left this fake liquidity, and then like the smallest of the smallest extreme supplies, where this was kind of like a decoy during New York, and then yeah, I guess they put it in for Asia. Wow, yeah, look at this Asia push up into the extremes of the extremes, aggressive sell-off right there. And then for the whole Asia session, you're selling off and actually breaking structure within the session and going lower. So that was one hell of an Asia session for hype. Now zooming out on our model, you know, we can kind of put the pieces together now that we've really broken it down. But very, very weird how it did play out. It's a different type of model for sure. And that's why we're looking at it, because, you know, we might have a little bit of a similar situation. But this is the trade that you are now running. Obviously, this demand can be here because we are looking at a PO3, and it's actually nice to have it there. But this is the trade you're running. It's a 14RR, and this is your model. It's a pretty interesting one, and it's pretty cool out of the market makers. They were sneaky about it. You know, they got me at the time. But super nice how they just built this liquidity, faster move, and then that Asia session, very, very telling. We're going to show our PO3 now. We're going to replace our manipulation phase box and see how it is just a lot more, it's a lot better proportionally than this first little model, how it was so small compared to the range. Now we have like a sizable model right here. We're looking for the expansion phase. Obviously, a break back inside right here confirms the PO3. So here is the model on Hype now. And you had to be kind of a dog to enter this, right? Like, you had to be kind of a dog. You had to be really breaking it down. You had to be not afraid to lose, because this is what you're now looking at when you're in the model. You have to be not afraid to lose, which is the case with all trades. We're going to play this out. But as soon as you see this, look at this. This is a PO3, and then this is follow through. I played that a little bit too fast, but you get the idea. This was such an explosive move down, and this is how you want to confirm your PO3s. So you can play the rest of it out. Come all the way back up. Once you see this, you know PO3 is confirmed. I don't believe that there was another. And look at this. Look at that finish. Spectacular finish. Anyone who's in this, I hope you got filled down here. I hope you got filled down here. You know, what a beautiful trade. Just very, very nice to see. Right like that. Absolute laser gun. Just super, super nice to like watch back in hindsight, and you really had to be breaking it down out here. But overall, when I step back and I look at how the market makers set it up, you know, I give them props. I think it was nice. So that'll conclude our backtest video on this PO3 at all-time high on Hyperliquid. I've been CJ, and I will see you guys in the next one.